I lost my mother at the time I needed her most. It was so painful, the first time I truly understood what it meant to lose a dear loved one in death. Worst hit was my father. They did virtually everything together. I grew up learning countless things from both of them, but when Mummy died, the whole world came crashing. As the only child, I didn't have the freedom of going wherever I wanted, because I had to manage everything in the house alone. Most times my father would sit quietly all day, lost in thoughts about his late wife. Sometimes I would find him going through her photo book, touching the pages gently as if she were still there. I watched his sad days and pretended Mummy was still around, hoping it would ease the pain. Daddy was deeply touched. Some days he would lock himself in his room and cry. How long would he continue like this? I told myself I needed to do something. After 5 long years of mourning, I advised him to remarry, but all my efforts to match him with a woman proved abortive. He was still deeply in love with my mum. One evening, while I was watching a football match in the sitting room, he joined me. He wore a sad face, so I quickly switched off the TV and focused my attention on him. "Don't off it, son, have your fun." "No, Dad, you're more important than this," I said. "I know," he replied, sitting close to me. "Dad, is there anything you want me to do for you?" He stayed silent. "Dad, I think you should remarry. I've told you this several times. If you have a wife now, you will be happy again. We will be happy again." "Son," he said softly, "there is more to life than a wife. It is hard to find true love these days. Your mother was my soulmate. You will not understand now. You are still young and single. I married your mother when I was young too. I thought we would grow old together. We had plans for our old age. But now," he paused, fighting his emotions. "I know, Dad. I loved Mum too. But 5 years have passed. You keep hurting yourself all day. It is only love that heals the wounds of love. Give someone else a chance. I would love to have half-brothers and sisters." "I've heard you. I'll think about it," he said. "Dad, you always say so. It's time to act." I said, "I'll think about it. Please get me something to eat," he said. He switched the TV back on. I made him a meal and we ate together before going to our rooms. I kept thinking of how to help him find love again. I had introduced 3 women, but none caught his interest. Maybe I didn't play it well. I decided to try again. That night I logged into Facebook and saw a message from one of my friends. Her name was Loris. She was beautifully made. Her smile could soften any heart. She was a businesswoman with a large network and a jovial spirit. We had been chatting for some time. She responded to a post I made, and after some jokes, I shot my shot on behalf of my father. I told her about him. She asked a few questions and grew interested. She was a single mother and still available. We arranged to meet the next day at a restaurant in Accra. The following morning, I was unusually excited. I sang while doing chores. Dad noticed, but I told him it was nothing. That evening, I prepared myself and got to the restaurant early. She arrived shortly after. "Good evening, madam." "Loris is fine," she said. "I know, but everything being equal, you may soon be my stepmother," I replied. She smiled faintly. "Won't you offer me a seat?" "Oh, please sit." We talked at length and she agreed to meet my father. We scheduled the meeting for the weekend at my father's house in Kumasi. It was time to go. I walked Loris to where she could get a taxi. She boarded one and we bid each other goodbye. I went home that evening a happy and fulfilled man, not because I found a wife for myself, but because I believed I had found someone for my father, or so I thought. I was eager to see the father I grew up with, full of life, happy and jovial. But then a thought struck me. What if my dad would not find this woman attractive? He once told me it was difficult to find true love these days. Maybe he was right, maybe he was not. Only time would tell. When I got home that night, I found my dad on the sofa watching television. "Good evening, Dad. Have you had something to eat?" I asked with a smile. "Evening, son, I've eaten. And why are you so excited tonight?" "Nothing special. Besides, I am always happy with you. Let me change up. I'll be with you soon." I went into my room, changed, and returned to the sitting room. My dad expected me to say something, at least an explanation for the smile on my face. I wanted to tell him everything, but I didn't want to spoil his mood. So I sat quietly pretending to watch the television. There was a long silence between us. "Won't you eat something?" He finally broke the silence. "I made us something since you didn't come back early. You know I don't like late-night food." "Sorry about that, Father. I'll eat right away." I went to the kitchen, not because I was hungry, but to make him happy. After eating, I returned to the sitting room and we resumed our ghost mood. A few minutes later, Dad broke the silence again. "I have thought about what you said. Son, You were just 19 when your mom died 5 years ago. Ever since then, you've been the one running the house. I pity you every day. Sooner or later, you will get married and probably leave me here at the mercy of loneliness. You are 24 now. Your responsibilities are multiplying day by day. Remember, you told me to give love a chance. I am ready for that now. I will love to get married. My joy erupted inside me like a volcano, but I controlled it. Do you have anyone in mind? I asked. He shook his head. No. In that case, you'll have to find someone yourself. I really need someone to help us in this house. I added. That won't be a problem, he said. It's okay then. Let me get some sleep. See you tomorrow. Good night, son. Good night, Dad. I picked up my phone and went into my room. I was happy that finally things would change for the better. I thought of how to play my cards. Then I came up with something. One of the biggest boutiques in the area was owned by Loris, so I told her to bring some fine shirts for me and include a few for my father. She must persuade us to buy. I trusted her smile to complete the mission. I sent her a message on Facebook Messenger describing the plan. 2 days later, Loris was ready. I was watching a movie with my dad in the sitting room when, at around 5:30 p.m., someone knocked. Did you expect anyone? Father asked. No, Dad. Let me check. I opened the door. Ah! Customer, welcome. What have you brought for me? Please come inside. She walked in while I locked the door. Her smile was contagious. You are welcome to our house. This is my father. Dad, this is my customer, Madam Loris. Good evening, sir, she greeted. Good evening, Loris. How is business? Business is fine. We thank God, sir. Please sit down, Father said. Loris sat gracefully. She was in her early 30s and her appearance fit the mission perfectly. She opened her bags and brought out several shirts. I selected these for you. They'll fit you well, she said as she handed me 4 shirts. Dad, I buy clothes from her. Her goods are quality. Let me see, my father said. I handed him 2 shirts. I like the stuff. The quality is good, he confirmed. This one will be good on you, sir, Loris added, giving him another shirt. I love this. I think I'll be buying from you too, he assured. That would be nice, sir. We give discounts to valued customers. I'll be patronizing you. So how much are these? She told him the price and, after agreeing on the amount, he paid her. Thank you so much, sir. I'll be on my way now. Thank you, ma'am, I said. I walked her to the door and saw her off. When I returned, I said, she sells quality clothes and she's very honest. I've seen. Is she from here? He asked. I don't know. I've never asked. He said nothing more. He took his shirts and went to his room. I waited, knowing he would return since we hadn't had dinner. A few minutes later, he came back. On seeing him, I focused on the TV while my ears stayed alert. How long have you known that woman? He asked. I acted as though I didn't hear him. Felix, he called. Dad, how long have you known that woman? Not too long. Any problem? No, not at all. I pretended as if I knew nothing about the deal. I didn't want to give my father the impression that I had known Loris. A few weeks later, my father needed a new cloth to wear for a traditional wedding, so I suggested that he patronize Loris. He asked for her shop address and I gave it to him. I also dropped a message for Loris on Facebook, informing her that my father would be coming to her shop soon. My father later went to her shop and bought his clothes. Whatever they discussed, I didn't know, but they exchanged numbers. Few months passed and it became crystal clear that they were dating. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and finally we started making arrangements for the traditional rites. The wedding was a low-key event. After the wedding, Loris moved in with us. I was happy that my father finally had a woman again. The joy on his face knew no bounds. 2 weeks later, her daughter, Ella, joined us. Ella was 20 years old. She and I became friends quickly. I took her as my blood sister. We spent most of our time together. Sometimes she would come to my room for gist. I didn't know my stepmother was becoming jealous of my closeness with her daughter. Whenever she saw Ella with me, she would send her on errand after errand. I never noticed until Ella drew my attention to it. Brother, Ella said, why is Mom always unhappy whenever we are together? Unhappy? How? Since when? Don't say that again, I scolded lightly. I am serious. She warned me not to come to your room anymore, she said. Why would she say that? What have I done? Did you ask her for the reason? I asked. I don't know. She gave no reason. I think you should talk to your father. No, that won't be a nice idea. I'll handle it myself. Leave my father out of this. As we were still talking, my stepmother came in. "Ella, go to the kitchen and make us dinner," she instructed. Before now, Ella and I used to cook, wash, clean, and do other chores together. The joy of having a sister was too much for me. I was literally happier than my father, who had a new wife. I was happy because I finally had someone to share the housework with. So when she asked Ella to go to the kitchen, I stood up to follow her. No, no, no. You're a man. You don't have to go to the kitchen. Let her cook. I am grooming her to become a responsible wife in the future. Sit here with me, she said with a smile. I reluctantly sat down. I was confused. Why the sudden change? But I enjoy working together with Ella. She assists me with my chores. I said, "Oh dear, I'm not saying you two shouldn't assist each other. All I said is that you should stay with me. Is that too much to ask from a son?" "I see." "See what?" she inquired. "Nothing, Mum, it's fine." "Do you remember that day at the restaurant?" she suddenly asked. "Yes. What about it?" "Nothing. Just that you have changed," she said. "Changed? How?" "I don't think so, Mum, but you haven't been giving me attention anymore, unlike before." "But that was before. You now have someone who needs your attention. That is why I hardly bother you two." "And is that why you have shifted your attention to my daughter?" At that moment, it felt like the entire megawatt of electricity in the country ran through my body. "I don't understand, Mum. What do you mean by shifting attention to your daughter?" "You've been avoiding me, Felix. I need your attention too. The way you've been relating with Ella is questionable. She's your sister." "Mum, are you trying to imply that I need your attention too?" "That's what I'm implying," she interrupted. I was about to ask another question, but she stood up and said, "Think about it." I watched her walk to her bedroom. I became a living dead. Could she be referring to what I was thinking? Only time would tell. After Loris left, Ella came out of the kitchen. "What did she say? What is going on?" she asked. I had no answer for her, so I simply walked to my room without saying a word. Later that evening, Ella came again and asked what had happened. I told her everything her mother said. The shock on her face was obvious. She couldn't speak. She just stared at me blankly. I didn't even notice when she left my room. The next thing I heard was my father calling me. I went to attend to him, but deep down I wasn't myself. My heart was heavy. I wasn't angry, just confused. I pretended everything was fine and ran the errand for him. On my way back to my room, I met Ella returning from her mother's room. My father and my stepmother didn't share the same room. Ella was weeping. "What is it, Ella?" I asked. She didn't answer. I tried to reach her heart, but she wasn't willing to let me in, so I allowed her to go. I went to my room and locked myself in. I didn't eat that evening. The next morning, my father left for a function. Ella went to the shop. And my stepmother? She told my father she wasn't feeling well. I had no work that day, so I stayed home. Things went normally from morning until noon. Then I heard a knock on my door. When I opened it, my stepmother stood there. I hadn't seen her all morning. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Yes, everything is fine. Is there anything you want me to do for you?" I replied. "Nothing. I was just checking on you." I thanked her and she left. I returned to my phone and saw a message from Ella. "Be very careful." Just that. Be careful of what? I wondered. I was still thinking about why everything in the house felt different when another knock came. I opened the door. "I brought you food," Laura said. She stretched out a tray of rice and beans. I collected it and thanked her. I was about to turn when she grabbed my hand. "Is that how to thank your person?" I smiled and thanked her again. "You can join me in the sitting room if you don't mind. I'm bored," she said. I decided to clear my thoughts and followed her. I was eating peacefully when she suddenly sat close to me. The closeness made me uncomfortable. I stood up, pretending to go get water. She quickly offered to fetch it. As she left, another message from Ella came. "I have something to tell you." I was about to reply when Loris returned with the water. "I can do anything for you in this house." "Anything?" she said with a smile. As my lips touched the glass, she asked, "What is really going on between you and Ella?" A cold wave ran through me. I couldn't drink anymore. I forced myself to ask, "What are you talking about? I know you two spend time together in your rooms. I told you yesterday that Ella is your sister. We spend time together, yes, but nothing is going on. She's my sister," I insisted. "Calm down. I'm not accusing you. I just need your attention too," she said. At that moment, everything became clear. I saw exactly what she meant. I stood up and tried to leave, but she grabbed me. Just then, the door opened. Behold, it was my father. As my dad opened the door, I froze. Loris quickly collected the tray and the glass from my hand. "Welcome, dear," she greeted my father. With a smile, my father responded. I was still standing like an Egyptian mummy. Every strength left me. Loris proceeded to the kitchen. My father walked up to me and placed his hand on my shoulder. "She's a kind woman. How many women can collect empty plates from their stepsons? Her kind is rare," he said. I had no response. I watched him walk to his room. I managed to carry myself to mine. I couldn't understand whether I was ashamed or my conscience was accusing me. Maybe my father didn't notice what his wife was trying to do. I couldn't focus anymore. I started thinking about what Ella wanted to tell me. I picked up my phone and dialed her number. The panic in my voice exposed me. "Hello, Ella. Hello, brother. Are you all right?" she asked. "What do you have to tell me?" I asked. "Don't worry. When I come back, I'll brief you. Tell me now, Ella," I insisted. She understood something was wrong. "What has my mum done?" she asked. I didn't have the strength to continue, so I dropped the call. As I sat thinking, my door opened. It was Loris. "If your father knows about this, I will deal with you," she threatened. She closed the door and walked away. I thought of telling my father, but how would I explain that his wife was after his son? Truly, it is difficult to find true love nowadays. I decided to pretend it never happened, but inside me I was burning. Maybe Ella would have answers. Few minutes later, there was a knock. It was my father. "My brother is sick." His wife called. "I want to go and see him," he said. I thought he came about what happened, so my face changed. He noticed the guilt in my eyes. I lifted my face and saw my stepmother behind him. Fear gripped me. "Are you okay?" my father asked. "He'll be fine. He complained of malaria earlier. I already gave him tablets," Loris interrupted. My father came closer, placed one hand on my forehead and the other on my shoulder. He was checking my temperature. "Don't worry, you'll be fine. Your mom is here to take care of you. Call her if you need anything," he said. I nodded as I sat on the bed. "Don't worry, sweetheart, I'll stay with him," Loris added, and sat beside me. "God bless you, dear," my father said. They hugged and he left. When I was sure he had left the compound, I turned to Loris. "Now what?" She smiled. "Nothing." I stood up and ordered her to leave my room or I would tell my father. "Do you think your father will take your word over mine?" "I dare you," she said. I left the room. She followed me. I went to the backyard and she followed. I couldn't take it anymore, so I snapped. "Loris, what is your problem?" I shouted. I called her by her name, hoping she would be offended, but she smiled and said it sounded romantic. I walked back inside. I turned and asked, "Do you really want to hurt my father?" "Your father doesn't have to know," she replied. She confessed she had fallen for me since the day we met at the restaurant. She said she became jealous whenever I was with Ella. "But Ella is your daughter." "My sister." "Yes, she is. So why would you think anything could happen between us?" "I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's not talk about her again," she said. I left her and locked myself inside my room. She knocked, but I refused to open. She later went to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Ella returned from the shop, and shortly after, my father came home. I had no appetite. My heart was burning. My father checked on me. I opened the door but couldn't tell him anything. When he left, Ella entered. I sat up quickly. "What do you have to tell me?" I asked. "Calm down, brother," she said. "I don't have time for this," I interrupted. "Okay, but promise me you won't be mad." I was losing patience. She gathered courage and said, Loris is not my biological mother." On hearing that Loris was not her mother, my blood dried up. I didn't need anyone to tell me to calm down. The calmness came naturally. So many things were running through my mind. I tried to walk to the bed, but my strength failed me. "Loris is not your mother?" "How?" "Yes, she is not my mother. That was why I wanted you to promise me." "Who are you then?" I interrupted. She had so much to say, but maybe it wasn't time. I made my way to the bed. I stared at her and saw guilt on her face. She wanted to tell me more, but was too afraid. "I'm taking a risk telling you this. I hope you'll forgive me." "Forgive you for what? Brother, do I mean anything to you?" On hearing that, I knew more was coming. I acted calm and answered, "Yes, you mean a lot to me. What is it you want to tell me, Ella?" She looked back, then sat beside me and held my hands. She whispered another shock into my ears. "Loris has a mission here, and whatever her mission is, we must work together to stop it." That was another blow from her. But Loris's mission no longer interested me. My new mission was to find out who Ella truly was. If I must unravel Loris's mission, I must unravel Ella's identity first. I thought, forget her mission for now. Who are you and what is your relationship with Loris? This is not a good place to talk. She could be listening. "You know how she behaves," she said. The bond between my father and I was strong. He hardly refused my requests. So I decided we needed somewhere outside the compound to talk. I went to my father's room and knocked. "Who is there?" he asked. "Dad, I want to take a walk down the street." I said, "Go ahead. Can I go with my sister?" "Of course." I heard Laura say something, but I didn't hear it clearly. She was probably uncomfortable with us going out together, but my father had already approved. "Let them go," he told her. I left with Ella to a nearby site out down our street. While walking, fear began to creep into me. I was no longer comfortable with her, but I had to remain composed. When we arrived, neither of us had appetite for anything. We sat in silence until I finally spoke. "Who are you, Ella?" She sighed. "I am Ella, a poor girl caged by circumstances." "What do you mean? Who is caging you?" "I don't know where to start. I'm scared." "Start anywhere. Don't be scared." She nodded. "No matter what, I want you to know I'm saying this because I love you. If you push me away later, fine. My mother, Loris, is not happy I'm always with you. She tries to stop whatever she thinks is between us." I lost patience. "I'm not interested in that. Tell me who you are and your relationship with Loris." Seeing I was upset, she began. "I'm not from Accra. I'm from Kumasi. I never met my father. I lost my mother in primary 6 at age 9. She was my only family. Before she died, she mentioned a distant cousin in Accra. After the burial, I begged for money to travel. I didn't know the cousin's house. During my wandering in the streets of Accra, I met Auntie Loris in her shop. She gave me a little money. I returned the next day and she asked about my parents. When I told her my story, she asked if I would love to stay with her. I agreed. 3 days later, she took me to my village in Kumasi. She met the village head and told him she wanted to take me back to Accra. He agreed. That's how she became my mother. That was 11 years ago. Everyone believes she's my mother. You're the first person I've told." She wiped her tears and continued. "Auntie Loris has married 3 times since I came. She has no child. The birth date on her Facebook is fake. I once saw her BVN slip. She is 43. The 3 husbands she married died mysteriously. She inherited their properties and relocated. That's how she made her money." She drank water and continued. "From the first day I entered your father's house, I fell in love with you. I'm not saying this for you to love me. I'm saying it so you and your father will live. The earlier we stop her, the better for everyone. I know I may end up on the streets again, but at least I told you." I was speechless. Fear engulfed me. Many questions filled my mind. Was Loris planning to kill my father? Was she planning to kill me? Or was Ella setting me up? So how do we stop her? I finally asked. "I don't know," she replied. I decided to inform my father. I stood up and we went home. When we got home, Loris was already restless. We met her outside the house near the garage. Our garage was separate from the house. She was boiling and ready to explode. Not from anger alone, but from jealousy that had transformed into anger and then into hatred. All these were written clearly on her face. "Where have you been, Ella?" she fired. "I went out with brother. Did I ask you who you went out with? How many times will I warn you not to?" She stopped when she realized I was standing there. Her gaze shifted from Ella to me, and she gave me a stern look before going back inside. That look sent fear down my spine, but I braced myself. Ella went to her room. I went straight to mine to think of the next action. I thought about so many things. Was Ella telling the truth? Was Loris truly that dangerous? I needed to act fast. Telling my father wasn't an option. Loris had a way of manipulating anyone. She could easily turn him against me. I needed proof. My mind went back to what Ella said about Loris's BVN slip. I must get that slip, I told myself. I woke up late the next day. It was 9:32 a.m. Few minutes later, Loris knocked. "Felix," she called. "Hold on, I'm coming." I opened the door. "Good morning." "Good morning, dear. How was your night?" "Fine, thanks. I haven't seen you since morning, so I came to check on you." "Thank you. There's food on the table. Hurry before it gets cold," she said. "Thank you," I replied with a fake smile. "Where is my father?" "He has gone out and won't be back until evening." "Finish up and join me in the sitting room," she said. I shut the door. When I finished bathing, I went to the sitting room. It was just Loris and I. She was watching television. I joined her. After a few minutes, she turned to me. "Please get my phone from my room. It's on my bed." I went to get it. Her bed was neatly arranged as if untouched for ages. The opposite of mine. Before I could finish looking around, she entered and closed the door. "Here is your phone," I said. She collected it and dropped it on the bed while maintaining eye contact. "My dear," she began, "I've admired you for a long time. You keep turning down my advances. No one says no to me. I get whoever I want." She started removing her clothes. What is the meaning of this, Loris? Make love to me? I'm dying inside. Fear swallowed me. I can't. You're my stepmother, my father's wife. What has come over you? You have come over me, she said, moving closer. I made this bed for you. For us. Don't be afraid, no one will know. I rushed to the other side, grabbed her shoe. Don't come closer, I will hurt you, I shouted. She jumped on me. I pushed her off and ran out of the house. I left the compound completely. When I returned in the evening, Loris was resting her head on my father's lap. They were in the sitting room. Good evening, Dad. What is your problem, young man? What came over you? He barked. I tried to speak. He fired again. How dare you inflict pains on my wife? How dare you make advances on her? I was shocked. Dad, don't dad me. You attempted to rape my wife. Take a look at her face. See what you caused. He stood up. You have grown into a man, desiring my wife. It will not happen. Pack your things and leave my house this minute. As I tried to plead, the door opened. 4 police officers entered with 2 men and a woman. Madam, you are under arrest, one said, showing an ID. Loris started shaking. For what? Why arrest my wife? My father asked. Sir, your wife is a serial killer. She has made money from her victims. We have been tracking her for years, the officer said. He turned to Loris. You have the right to remain silent. Is this true? My father asked. Loris broke down crying. I watched as they led her away. My father followed. Ella returned just then. Why is she arrested? She asked. She is arrested for the murder of her former husbands, I told Ella. You reported her? You got her arrested? She asked. No. I thought it was you, but those men in mufti brought the police. How did they know the house? That's not the question you should ask. Then what? You should be asking where I will sleep tonight. My father asked me to leave his house for attempting to rape his wife. Can you imagine, Ella? What are you talking about? She asked in shock. He said I tried to rape her. I went to pack my belongings. I'm going with you, Ella said, and left sadly. Days passed. Weeks passed. Loris remained in custody. She was charged, prosecuted, and eventually sentenced to death for murder. My father was devastated for years. Years later, my father still sits in that same spot in the sitting room sometimes, staring into nothing. Only this time, it's not because he misses my mother, it's because he is haunted by the 2 people he failed the most, his late wife and me. The truth about Loris spread like wildfire. The whole neighborhood got to know she was a serial killer who used love as a weapon and marriage as a graveyard. My father could not live with the shame. He stopped attending family gatherings. He stopped going to church. The man who once taught me to trust my heart now couldn't even trust himself. One evening, 3 years after her conviction, I returned home to visit him. I didn't tell him I was coming. I walked into the sitting room and saw him holding the old photo album, my mother's photo album. His hands were shaking, not just from age, but from regret. When he saw me, the album slipped from his hands and fell to the floor. Felix, he whispered, as if he had seen a ghost. I picked up the album, wiped the dust off, and placed it gently on the table. For a long time, we just looked at each other. No TV, no noise, just memories between us. I failed you, he finally said, his voice breaking. I chose a stranger over my own son. Your mother would never forgive me, and I don't know if you ever will. Those words pierced deeper than any accusation he had thrown at me the night he asked me to leave his house. I watched his shoulders shake as he cried, not the tears of a man who lost a wife, but of a father who almost lost his son forever. I also made a mistake, Dad, I replied quietly. I was so desperate to see you happy that I forced you into a love you were not ready for. If I hadn't pushed so hard, Loris would never have entered this house. He lifted his head slowly and looked at me with tired eyes. You did it out of love. I did what I did out of blindness. You tried to save me, I threw you away. At that moment, I had a choice: to let bitterness complete the destruction Loris had started, or to break the chain. I moved closer, sat beside him, and placed my head on his shoulder, like I used to do when Mum was alive. I forgive you, Dad, I said. Let's not allow her shadow to live here when she's no longer here. He broke down completely. For the first time in many years, he hugged me, not just as his son, but as the only family he had left. That night, we went through my mother's photos together, not in sorrow, but in gratitude for the love she gave us. We didn't talk about Loris again. She was already serving her sentence. The real question was whether we would keep serving ours. Ella stayed in our lives, not as Loris's daughter, but as my sister by choice. She moved into a hostel nearby and kept visiting. Sometimes she cooked for us, sometimes she just sat and listened. She had every reason to hate love, but she didn't. She only became wiser. From all this, I learned something I want to leave with you. Loneliness is dangerous, but desperation is deadly. Love is beautiful, but when you rush it, it can become a weapon in the wrong hands. If you lose someone you love, heal first before you try to replace them. And when people around you see red flags, don't be too blinded by emotions to listen. Also, if you are a parent, never be too proud to admit that you were wrong. Sometimes the "I'm sorry" you refuse to say is the same key that could save your family from breaking forever. And if you're a son or daughter like me, remember this. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it gives you the power to decide how the story ends. Thank you so much for watching this story on Lore Room. If you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven my father? And if you were my father, what would you have done differently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and also tell us where you're watching from, your city and country. I love reading your comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Lore Room, like this video, share it with someone who needs this lesson, and comment your opinions below. Till next time, this is Lore Room, where stories speak the truths we are sometimes afraid to say out loud.